there's a lot of strange things going on. Yesterday, Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, got up in Parliament and said that she was going to prescribe the group Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation, but she's not going to do it until next week. I'm not quite sure what the delay is on that. But let's talk to Julie Bindel, columnist at The Sun this morning. She's got a big piece on page 12, in which she says to back totalitarian Team Iran is as mad as it is immoral. I have to say, I couldn't agree more. A lot of people yesterday protesting in London, despite the fact that they knew they were about to be named as a terrorist organisation. They're violent, they're crazed, they hold signs up that celebrate the Ayatollah Khomeini. They say, hands off Iran, and it's very, very weird. Julie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Thanks so much for joining us. Your piece today pretty much sums everything up, I think, that most ordinary right-thinking people would say. You know, we were kind of... I mean, I've never been convinced by the pro-Palestinian marches that it was anything other than anti-Semitic and generally speaking, full of some rather nasty people. But this is sort of almost in a way 100 times worse, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my view is that there are some people marching on those demonstrations that are genuine, that are there for honourable reasons. They might be ignorant or they might know about the Middle East, but many of them are motivated by a gross kind of anti-Semitism, masked as anti-imperialism. And now that we have this support for Iran, this hashtag Team Iran, which ironically India Willoughby, a trans-identified person, was supporting, saying that he could go and live in Iran when Iran hangs gay people from cranes in the public square. But this idea that somehow supporting Iran is supporting anti-imperialism is utterly nonsense. They are denying the rights of the citizens of Iran. They are betraying the citizens of Iran who live under totalitarian rule, and they are supporting the regime. And we have known since the Ayatollah Khomeini's speeches in 1970 about the motivation of anti-Semitism, not anti-Zionism, that really was his main kind of beef. He talked about how, in fact, the Jews, as he would put it, were long-standing enemies as Islam, but they were also agents of the West. So this conspiracy theory, which is a terrible stereotype, anti-Semitic stereotype about Jews. So this isn't about the state of Israel, although they obviously do not believe that it has a right to exist. They want to obliterate the state of Israel, and Iran has attempted to do that on many an occasion. This is gross anti-Semitism, and those on those marches supporting Iran are betraying the people of Iran and defending a totalitarian regime that they would never, ever want to live under.
Right. Well, I asked this question yesterday because, you know, we know that there's an awful lot of Iranian dissidents who have come to live in this country who are genuinely Iranian dissidents, you know, who've got, I mean, I know a couple of people personally who have got family members there who are under house arrest, you know, and have been for many, many years and decades, in fact. But that would be the large bulk of an awful lot of Iranians living in London and other parts of the city. But so I was asking the question yesterday, who are these people who are holding up pro-Iran you know, banners? Who are these people who are supporting what they're doing? Because surely to God, if they are Iranians, they must be working for the government. And the Times this morning has got a piece saying there is a belief that Iran could actually be funding Palestine Action, and that's in the Home Office.
Yeah, I mean, look, we know that the way that Iran operates is to fund terrorism, and the targets on Israel are very real and very regular. And I think because Trump, who obviously the left have a knee-jerk response, and anyone that knows me, I'm on the left, I'm not a fan of Trump, but anything that Trump is behind is automatically a bad thing, whatever the outcome and whatever the means to an end. And so the left right now in this country is an absolute disgrace, which is abandoned its principle.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they seem to have lost...
What it's giving support to under fundamentalist rule.
Yeah, they seem to have lost, like, all perspective on everything. As you say, they're so obsessed with Trump, they're so obsessed with Israel, that anything which is anti-Trump and anti-Israel is their friend. And it's almost like sort of, you know, primary school politics. It's not even student union politics. It's like primary school politics.
That's right, and it's identity politics. As you say, it's sort of like in the schoolyard. And the problem is, of course, that they're backing the wrong horse in every major cultural battle.
Yeah.
So the whole mantra that they trot out, trans women are women, where anyone who says, no, we want female-only changing rooms and sports and prison wings is a bigot and a fascist. And now, of course, Palestine is the new cause. I don't know why they don't support terrible human rights abuses in Yemen, for example, Sudan. This is never raised as an issue. It's this obsession with Palestine. Most of them seem not to understand about the Middle East at all. They see it as black and white. I've been told by several hard leftists on these marches that it's a worse regime than South Africa under apartheid.
Right.
They have no idea about, never mind nuance, they don't actually know the history.
No.
They don't understand any of the foundational politics, and I feel, quite frankly, ashamed to be lumped in with any of these faux leftists. I just won't go along with it.
I watched an interview yesterday on social media with AOC over in America, who was talking about the occupation and how awful it all was. And when she was pressed on it to explain what the occupation was, she started talking about, rambling on about West Bank settlers and, you know, how they weren't supposed to be there moving people out of their homes. And then she admitted, I'm not, geopolitics is not really my thing. And you're going, well, you've just spent like 10 minutes telling us why you hate the occupation. And when you're asked to describe it, you can't describe it. And you just think, I mean, the thing I wonder about, and I don't know whether this is just me now falling prey to some other conspiracy theory, but I watched a sort of a not pro-Iranian, but shall we say a pro-Arab commentator on Sky last night, who was talking about, you know, the real problem in the Middle East is none of the Arab countries, it's Israel. Israel is the main problem. Without Israel, we would have none of these problems. And it's almost like they've constructed this narrative now as Israel is the bad guy. And imagine if they weren't there and we just got rid of them, we'd all be fine.
It is utterly ludicrous, isn't it? And I think that if you just look at the basics, if you look at who and what these people, the most outspoken, are supporting, they are supporting fundamentalist Islam, a totalitarian regime.
Yeah.
Do they not know that women are stoned in the streets, that women are shot in the face for adultery, including being raped?
Yeah.
Do they not understand that children, teenagers, have been shot and whipped for dancing? That this is a regime that is so extreme that every single person living under it is at risk, is in danger. This is how they want to live. This is the regime they want to support over democracy. And this is betraying the Iranian people in the same way that Hamas is betraying the Palestinian people in Gaza. This is not a just war. And people forget that Hamas started this war.
Right. Yeah, well, they forget it because they keep being told and fed the lie that it was all started by Israel. And that's where they're coming from. I mean, somebody said to me today, how long before we see the first Iranian flag at Glastonbury this week? And you can see it, can't you? You can see it happening.
Well, we've already got, in a sense, we've got the Iranian flag with Team Iran. And I remember a good few years ago, I was doing some research into the crazy diagnosis of transsexuality. And this was back in the early 2000s, before the whole culture war erupted. And I was quite shocked to find that the country that performed the most sex change operations annually was Iran. It's now been slightly taken over by Thailand. But are we going to see that as progressive, or do we not understand, when we think about that for 1 minute, what it's about? It's about making gay people and lesbians straight. So if you're a bit of a camp gay man and your family knows this, or ditto a non-conforming lesbian, they will require you, this is not a choice, to actually go through sex change surgery, to be mutilated, to live as the opposite sex. And as I say, it's one of the very few countries in the world that has the death penalty for being gay or lesbian. So this is not a regime we wish to support.
No, and it really should be that simple, shouldn't it? But I'm afraid it isn't. But the collective Western world has gone sort of a bit insane, hasn't it? I mean, I've been around maybe a little bit longer than you, but I've never known the Western world to be so screwed up about itself. As
I say, I think it's identity politics. The left, a long time ago, left behind class as an issue. So, in other words, working class, hardworking, ordinary, decent people like my family, where I came from, and a housing estate in the northeast of England, where they looked to the Labour Party to defend their interests and to maintain their rights and to ensure that they had rights in the factories or the workplace in general. And of course, that changed a long time ago. And the Labour Party hasn't represented working class people for a long time. We've seen the destruction of the working classes under both Labour and the Tories, in my view. And so it's no wonder they're looking elsewhere to vote. But this is something that I think we need to examine across the board. When did the left start becoming obsessed with identity politics, from Black Lives Matter, which in my view is a corrupt organisation that does not do what it says on the tin, right the way through to Team Iran? It really needs a good examination. It's no wonder that people are leaving the left in droves. And I remain on the left, and I refuse to have it redefined for me. But I am not. These people do not speak for me.
No, and they don't speak for a large majority of people on that side of the divide either. Julie, great to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. Julie Bindel, their columnist at The Sun.